everyone, my name is Miro Wengner, and today we're gonna talk about the new enhancements that are coming with Java 21 and how those enhancements impact our day-to-day work. So as a Java 21, it's still not out there. It will be in September, and there is still possibilities that little tiny change may impact it. I put the safe harbor here because everything can be still different. Yes, it's just for my and your security. So who I am, or who am I? I am, as most of you, software engineer. I'm a technology enthusiast. I write articles, I write at least. I'm a husband and father, and also I'm trying to contribute to entire Java ecosystem on the different levels. Because if you contribute to something like Java, you get it back, and at a point of time of contribution, you get it back, and it will be good for you for your career. So I am involved in OpenJDK itself. I'm committing to Java Fly Recorder. Right now, as I'm father of two, it's sometimes get more challenging to push the commits and at least concentrate at work, especially if it is like a side hobby, right? So you still have to do the job at work. So I recently published the book called Practical Design Patterns for Java Developers, where I put all my experiences I collected over the years, over different kind of industries, and also different kind of projects. What is a book for? Because we know the Gang of 4, right? But this, I use the all new features that will be fully available in the 21 release, and I use it there in order to use the design patterns very nicely. And I start from the beginning in the book to explaining and to smoothly move through the design patterns that always come like a natural thinking, that you don't have to enforce them. So I work for a company called Open Value. We have a booth there, so we can have a additional talk afterward. And what we do and who we are a group of individuals. We are really keen in order to investigate everything what is happening in the JVM world. We are solving the challenges for our customers, and what is more important, which is actually our motto, we need to have a fun at work. We are located mostly in Europe, different countries, right? As you can see here, we have the mother company in Netherlands, then we have Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, and others are coming. So what we have in agenda, at the first of all, I would love to put these new enhancements that are coming in some of context that allows you to kind of figure out, okay, they are really good, it makes a sense to migrate. Who is running here still the Java 8? Oh, well, yes, sad for you. So who is running Java 11 at least? Oh, okay, that's a way better. And who is running 17 LTS? Okay, that's additional. I need to raise my hand. Java 8, 11. Sadly, customers are not that flexible, and we have only one who was running and still running Java 1.4, which is, we will talk about this why it happens. So to put everything into the context, I really tried to search out what is the cause of a bad code. And it turns into, in 2018, the CNBC CFO Council, they made the study based on the poll. And they found out that $300 billion in American company per year is paid for the poor code quality. What does it mean actually? So it means that let's consider that each developer works 40 hours a week, yeah? And from these 40 hours, the developer has only 57% of time allocated for actual work. And this actual work includes the meeting, and we know how meetings sometimes go. Yeah? So that means this 57%, I use the Pareto, so maybe 20% you use really effectively for actual work to figure out what would be the next steps and how you can implement the feature that is requested. So The funny thing is that all the rest is spent on debugging, figuring out how this works. And as you are working on different domains, right? We are not alone in the project, so you need to debug the work of others. It's very painful sometimes. And you have a legacy code. Woohoo! So we go here, and technical depths. So what is a poor code definition? Actually, if I'm new in a project, I'm sometimes new in a domain. So if I take a look on the code and I cannot understand it, right? It's bad. The naming is wrong. The domain is kind of mixed up. And actually, I already see there are obsolete libraries and even not updated libraries produced by the company, okay? It feels not right. So it's very hard to reuse when, as a consultant, it's hard, please extend the system, right? Okay, it could be another challenge. So the response of the Java architects and platform architects to all this, we have shortened our release cycles to 6 months. And the response is, I call it gang of more, yeah? Because there is coming more than 4 features here. And there are many other features that I'm not mentioning here, but they are also important, and by discovering the internal APIs you can find it out and they are really helpful, but I go to it. But more visible one is local type inference that help us that we don't have to write the wrong name classes, but in additional side, it allows us to name classes properly, yeah? So we do understand this, the code we can still maintain. The other thing is the platform architects and like syntax architects, they would like to enforce immutability. Why immutability? Well, it's a way better to be sure that the object that you receive at the runtime doesn't change its state, right? And here is the records are coming in. They give you behind the scene generated local hash code and equals and 2 strings. You don't have to take care. They automatically provide, if you name the fields, the public constructor, great, and they are immutable. You can break it, but you will see. But we have already the modules, right? Since the Java 9, we know it is a package security. It's actually great features. Yeah, but really rarely used. Who knows the project that use the module system? Oh, well, very few. Me too, but and the amount of project and code that has been processed is really few. Like, I don't know, 0.001%. Okay, so, but the architects come with other features, sealed classes, which kind of enforce the package level, the code security inside of package, which means that allows us to maintain the architecture and the code structure how it was intended. That's already great because it improves also behind the scene our meeting, and it helps us to address the issues. And if something is wrongly done in abstraction, it helps us to think. And then my favorite one, which is really like a break changer, is the instance of a switch case and pattern matching, which, as you will see, it's pop up the design patterns which could be used on different level. So, and there are additional changes, and you should think about that kind of carefully because the virtual threads are coming, and the marketing is very hard. So, and you should be prepared for fun. So, how it looks in real, you see, the switch case becomes readable. You can also check the null cases. You can put the return case. You can kind of do the functional way in the programming. What does it mean? That value of your objects can return back to the new value. You can use the streams, and everything got testable. Yeah, so you don't have to invent some kind of mocks and so on. You can test on each level your code and increase the developer happiness. And if developers are happy, most of the time, the project owners are happy, and also the managers are receiving and targeting their goals, and so on. So what they told us at the university, and here I hope I change your perspective, or how you think about object-oriented coding. They told us at the university's acronym, the 4 pillars, right? IPI, abstraction, polyversion, inheritance, and encapsulation. I've been thinking over years on this, how to produce maintainable code. And I figure out, it helped me, that if I'm able to encapsulate my idea, my hypothesis, I am able to inherit, to kind of make the hierarchy, how the code, I can imagine it in a hand. And if I have inheritance, I can kind of apply the polymorphism. I can kind of define the inputs to the methods. And then, if I have it, all these, I can abstract, I can generalize all the time. And what is nice on this way of thinking is each level I can test. So I don't go blind. Yeah? And what is the key to do this? It's only the IPI, like the 4 pillars. And it already sounds like a test-driven development, yeah? But it is not. Yeah? So I don't want to go there. But the key to this thinking is don't repeat yourself. Because if you need to repeat yourself, if you need your colleague to repeat yourself, if you spot that something is repeated, so rethink. And then you can continually refactor your code, and you can continually address the issue. And still we are at the beginning. So the full story here of each project development I have been in was you enter the project, you get a really big span of the knowledge you need to know about the domain you are on. You are not working on the whole domain, but you are allocated on the specific small part. You have already decided, or also in the greenfield, you decided about the tools you're gonna use, and you get requirements from your management and from the business you need to implement. And then on the top are kind of innovations, you know? Some other team has published his library, or just the tooling gets updated. And I call this pyramid, I've been really thinking too, the pyramid of project happiness. Yeah, because it's separated 2 parts. One is the bottom is related to project, then it's related to the platform you choose, then it's related again to the project, which is the shortest span, right? And the innovation has even sorted because not all libraries, I'm not talking about JavaScript, gonna update it at the same time in an hourly rate, yeah? So we are still on the Java or JVM. So, but the pyramid, you see, you maybe spot the top is not defined. I mean, to maintain this pyramid, it requires discipline, and there I put the discipline, because if you are able to do this, maintaining discipline, your happiness, not only of you, but of developers, of management, will increase. And I also put the vertical line as a consequences. That means if you, for example, have a log4j somewhere, you didn't update it, so it will kind of spread around the whole domain and involve also the platform and tooling. So the impact of this not doing this was kind of very big. So, and this leads me to the fact that anti-patterns are very natural. They are happening on these 2 types of kind of evolution I just mentioned on the project level and the tooling we do use or technologies. And it means in time t1, everything is fine, and with the update the library or update the tooling, it may turn into that we have a spaghetti code, yeah, because we're gonna use it. It may turn into we already have it, that after updating the library, something stopped working, and then we have some old code. Yeah, these anti-patterns are residing in the classes. So we spot that someone used the other stuff, so we just copy and paste it. Yeah, and this is great. It sometimes right now works, but with how the way thinking, right? And this turns out that later it's have additional unexpected behavior. That means, oh, we come with, let's do the small services, right? Let's define it. Whatever framework you are using is a nice, oh, we separate it. So that means we really functionally decompose the whole project we are working on. And then, but the funny thing is the stone, that we actually should fix stay there, and it's like lava, yeah, over the classes, they go moving forward, and actually at the end it can reside into be the archer, so we can move it anyway. And but in other hand, it's like those Lego cars. Yeah, they are separated, it's still in code, it somehow works, and sometimes we have a feeling that our project is running. But applying the code anti-patterns reside in something what we don't want to have. The architecture, which at the beginning looked like promising, I would say, and awesome, and we've been really motivated, like right now it's crashed. Yeah, it's popping up from everywhere. The end-to-end test doesn't work and showing the different result. So, and applying the anti-patterns on the code level, on the classes level side, reside definitely, it implies that you are applying the anti-pattern on architecture side. It's connected, so you cannot avoid. And you should react upon it, because if you don't, the newcomers get, and even you get the feeling that you are working in something like, I call them minefield. It's regularly described anti-pattern, yeah, and you don't want to touch any of code. And that means your the initial happiness to entering the project becomes to be really damaged, because you often hear on the meeting, oh man, you should keep it simple. Yeah, okay, simple, what does it mean? In which kind of context? Yeah, less code or just right solution? Okay, no one knows. I heard it many times. But actually, as the developers are bored, right, they are actually applying, oh, it works for me on my machine, so it can't go through. And if it doesn't work, so I will use whatever feature I have. I don't think, because I would love to my ticket closed, right? Because this counts at the end, and I will just fake it until I make it, until it's green. And if it is not green, I just use the disabled annotation from prohibit JUnit 5, and that's okay. Yeah. No one needs to know it, because we have a long code base. Yeah. So, and what we are doing right now, actually, just to sum it up, we have been applying a long time the code anti-patterns reside in the classes, then the architecture damage, right? And we lost ability to address literally the issues. So we lost ability to make our meetings more effective and talk about real issues we are facing. Okay, so let's take a short look at the platform, because this anti-pattern I have been observing on many levels, not only on the project I'm in, but also in the library we've been using. Everyone loves open source. Everyone is for free, right? Almost. But this, when you're squeezing the platform abilities, you maybe heard the talk before about jet compilation and so on many times. But if you're squeezing capabilities of the platform is not able to optimize. So how it looks, this anti-pattern? We have a model, looks fine at the first look. We have a utils, look awesome. Yeah, shortcut. We have a logic, even better than awesome. Next level of awesomeness. I have searched the wiki, who said the devil is in the detail. Yeah, because it's normally used quote in English. And I have found out that the Liebe Gott steckt im Detail said the Andy Warburg, he was the historian scientist. He collected library. It was in 1866, so the ending of 19th century. And it's completely like opposite, right? But the meaning is same. Like, I don't know what is optimistic. Maybe the Americans and English want to put special pressure on that there's a devil, you know, who is breaking everything. And the Germans, it's Liebe Gott, who is giving us the opportunity to fix it. Yeah? So this looks great. We run it in production, and what we find out, we have under certain conditions, we found that we have really big delays, latencies are getting back. Oh, why is that? And then we need to still find a case which causing the latencies. Yeah. Oh, we have forgotten about autoboxing. So the autoboxing is a stuff which is very hard to optimize. Yeah. And if you use the wrong model, which use the primitive which goes to the stack, aside of the wrapper classes which goes to the heap, so and you search you call the contains these values on the, for example, on the collections. So you will always create a new object. And normally people, who is profiling his application? Okay, just 1, 2, okay, cool. Oh, 3, oh, come on. Yeah, but normally people are not doing this. So to figure out what is happening, but this cause, in this simple example, it's, well, no one cares, but in a big scale, it can really cause the damage. Yeah. So aside of it, you see the intrinsic candidate. So the platform itself is trying to cache everything behind the scene for you. So that means if you think, oh, what could be wrong? Where is this autoboxing happening? Yeah, it's in the detail here. Our record class, which guarantees us immutability, great. But it still had a primitive, not great. So we changed to the integer, great again. And we kind of being nice right now to our platform because garbage collection has no work right now. So this is nice, right? And we have still the logic. So we get kind of brief to our platform. The other anti-patterns I observe, and it's called, if you still remember my permit, right? It's a tooling stuff. In the normal project, I think the first choose of the collection, the array list is very great because it's a kind of compact. It has really not very low footprint. Yeah, it's a great choice. It has all features you need. If you don't know the context of the domain, so you can still iterate. But it turns out to if you need to get the element, right? So that the complexity of getting one element is getting to be higher. We have something new like all the sets, right? Where we have, based on the hash code, we can get in a complexity 1 directly the element. We calling the contains. And we don't know whether we do need this feature or not, because we don't know still the domain. So, but it may turn into. But you see, having an array list, giving a big load, you have already creating the bottleneck, because right now everything, every action you do on your system is coming to this specific part of the JRR, which is search for the element, index of the element you are searching of. And you see, it has the biggest request, and there is all instructions are queued. So you actually getting the delays, right? This is not what you want. And instead of this, you could search Java base, package Java utils, right? And you find out, oh, you have more collections than just only the array list, and something more fit to your needs. But these needs pops up after you are long-term on the project or just requirements. You see, the anti-patterns are very natural, happening all the time. Is nothing wrong to say, okay, we just make it, because you can name it, you can right now address it. Yeah. So don't be mad if someone say, okay, you should use this. It's just a normal. So selecting the tool. So how it looks when we choose the hash set, you see right now the work is getting nicely like a normally distributed across the JRR which is running, which is very cool, right? Because right now you have kind of more workers, yeah? Not just one guy, like very poor guy who is trying to get his index, but more, and this is good. So you are increasing the throughput. So, and this anti-pattern is sometimes called a code smell. But anyway, it smells bad already. So, what they told us actually, when you go back to the business, we had the university, API, cool, and when we enter the real work, hey, you need to be the solid developer. Great. You need to just make single responsibilities, classes or services. You need to just make them so close that you can open them for extension. Okay, that sounds already great. And I put in my book, through the old book is abstraction on vehicle, because I found out that many times just the developer struggles in order to identify themselves and their thoughts with the actual code task. Yeah. So I put the one abstraction of the vehicle, which is kind of extended over the book. Yeah, and easy to follow the path where you have extended it, and you can go back. And these kind of solid principles pop up like a behind the scene. They are not enforced, and they are just pop up, which I think is a better approach to kind of using those principles. And again, as you remember, API, don't repeat yourself. Again, the key to maintain the solid is, again, never repeating yourself. If you find the stuff that is repeated, it could be the kind of util functionality which we use across the project. Never knows, but you need to identify them because you can address it, brainstorming with the team. It's nice, right? And especially when the new features are coming, because they are putting special, like a push to 11, to your code. And it helps you to actually identify the domains inside of domains. There's a subdomains, which is like a Lego building a car. Like we've been all small. I love Lego. My son loves it too. I love the building it. And the coding becomes to be like a building small Lego or bigger one. So that means that on the top of the pyramid was kind of discipline, and it leads me to coding standards. And today we have a cloud and cloud native and everything, and tasks are more and more concurrent. Actually, the requirements from the management and from the application we are mostly building on is process the concurrent running task. But concurrency is hard, and you need to think slow, like small step, small punch at a time, like Rocky. Yeah. First, get your creating object right. Then put them the structure. Then make them behave as you expected. You know what I said before, all tested on the path. Then you can go concurrency. And if you do all this, it will be like teleportation through the Stargate and puts you into the new level. And this is kind of joy you get with working with Java 21 if you update, or I mean with any, if you are 17, it will be joy to working with code. So concurrency pattern, I just put those two, like we're going to talk about the bulking and read-write block, because sometimes I found out that they are the people trying to fix them by using a Kafka streams or any other MQ streams, and actually they are kind of faking it. Yeah, bulking, what it's about? You have imagine you have one car, yeah, you have two crew, yeah, of the drivers, they can drive a car. Of course, two drivers cannot ride the car at the same time, right? Logic, so your critical section need to be covered. And you don't want to use the synchronize, of course. But anyhow, if the critical section become to be card, and car can change the state, and it's easy by using the concurrent package to apply the bulking pattern. And then you can have this behavior, but you can also get it with putting a flag on the object and using the messaging, right? But you cannot give a guarantee. To test these critical states becomes to be very hard, because you need to know what you have done wrong. But here you are doing it transparently. The second one is retrend lock. It is also normal scenario where you have one sensor that is producing data and many readers. They need to know, especially in the level of car, when we're putting more and more sensors there in order to analyze what kind of situation and state we do have a car, especially electric car. So we need this pattern and need to get properly implemented. So here it's again very nicely done with the utils that are already in the JDK. It's called return lock. So you're giving the exclusive lock to the writer of the value, and then nicely the readers have a similar value at the same time when it is available. You see, the reader just stop. Hi guys, stop! I'm writing, and then nicely the readers will, you have a green, just read the value. So here, at the back to the beginning, creational patterns. It's like to having a Lego in front of you, and you just putting them and figuring out. You just read the plan what you could do next. That's your that are your object. And here are coming the features that you're gonna use. Factory. When you would love to hide the construction of the object from the APIs, separate, right? So you use the factory method pattern, and here are coming the switch, an instance of. You see, with less code, it was not possible to do it like that many years. Well, many, not. I wouldn't say many years ago, even the months, I would say, before. And what I'm doing here, I'm already getting the type, instance of type. I'm kind of getting to the methods of the object I have. If I use the inheritance and I have the hierarchical of the classes, I can still go to the exact definition of the class onto these fields, and I can put them into the switch cases. Here I simply using the type, and I can do the transformation and just yield the result back. And it seems even when I'm repeating this right now, it seems really functional. So that means if I'm using a functional in this, my transformation like happening in the stream, I am guaranteeing the immutability on this. So I'm not causing the side effects. So builder pattern, I can also use the records. Records have the public constructor automatically, but I can still add the builder class inside of the records and make this class to be built in the steps over the methods. And as the record is meant to be immutable, please keep in mind using the atomic references can break it. I just, well, please don't do this. Yeah, the reason for is because if you're using atomic references, you can kind of exclude the all memory checks that you have. This is why the using the effectively final inside of stream when you're using the atomic referencing works, because they don't check it, they get directly to the value inside of memory. But this is also not a crude practice because it causes a side effect. And here, if you are thinking for the intention of the records to have the small immutable classes use short-living, you are actually may cause the postpone the garbage collection of the classes due to the using atomic references. And you also disable ability of the garbage collector to compact the memory for you. Still remember, you are on the JVM world, and you have the garbage collector which gives you the feeling of infinitive memory. But he can make his job only when you are nice to the platform. So that's the reason. You can do this, but in case of using a virtual threads then, just millions of them, as was been marketing says, so you can damage your application anyhow. So if we have created everything, we could do structures on it. It's like building a small passes before we do the final arrangement to build a car. And here I choose the adapter because it's a very useful pattern, oftenly used. And again, the switch case, you see here, like I am putting the conditions inside of switch. Yeah, I can directly access because everything in what is coming into the switch, there is coming a class, there is a header already. He knows where is address, what his address is referring to. I can directly access the fields, internal fields or internal methods of the object I have, and I can put the conditions. So you need to keep in mind that this conditional statements should be ordered, yeah, because they go simply through, and that's through down, from the top down, and if you put it the wrong way, so you will get always evaluated something what you don't want. But it's extremely helpful. Maybe you do remember in the past how much effort you need to spend to doing this. Yeah, that means that it's like a ship, and the patterns are popping up automatically for you. And you are still happy guy because you have all tested. It's way easier to test it. It seems like less transformation, well defined. easy to test. And then we go to behavior thinking. Yeah, what we do with the structure and all these objects, we give them the behavior. And here I choose the caching and observer pattern. Let's say I create a guy driver who will drive the car I have created already. I put all this together and I observe the commands I'm giving him, and then I am executing them. And again, you see here are the streams, and why I mention the APIs, even the collections and also the concurrents went through the changes. They are small, teeny changes which allows out to reduce the cost. Because before, at the beginning, when the stream API has been introduced, you have to create the stream, right? Right now there is a method for each. I don't have to call the stream method and then the terminal operation at the end. So, and again, instance of, take a look. Instance of, take a look on the beauty. Yeah, start command is the record, and I can access the fields I put there and directly the values. So I don't have to do any more the casting. Nothing, you know. I can simply access and I do the one line code, or well 2 lines, or 3 lines, because I need to put a bracket, and if you have a kind of code style detection. So, but anyway, it's so less code and so readable for you. So isn't it obvious how beautiful it is to update to Java, upcoming Java 21, even when you are still running the 8, even when you are still running 11. You know, I would use this opportunity to rethink your code based on the parameter I have published at the beginning, where is the project happiness, because it makes sense to reduce your code base, to make smaller images that you are putting into the Kubernetes. And conclusion here. So if you take a look of the security provided by the sealed classes, which I already know, okay, these guys inherit. You don't have to put it everywhere. But for example, clients, they are accessing the external resources. It's a good part to think to make them kind of secure, because you don't want to have the situation when any developers is pushing his changing through the pull request. You cannot track it. So you can simply limit this. Okay, this stays like we agreed. If it not, we discuss it. And you see the records giving you the hash code and equals it. We have to take care of. Again, like I know it's less code to read, but you need to still keep in mind what is happening behind the scene. And this amazing ability of the switch case. So, and this will be available on Java 21. Right? You see, before we did just if, no, just do the switch. Yeah? So right now we don't have to do this, because now is one normal state of the switch case. And then we go to transformation, we can address, is it a class integer? So we don't have to do the casting, and we can do the conditional statements here. And it seems we can pull off this, and this design patterns adapter can be in the streams to the other adapter, so we can nicely write the mappers, which mappers becomes to be essential, if especially when you're working on some event-based application. And what is more important here is that you have a type safety, not like a Python, which is nice. I have been running some project in a Python, and we've been literally struggling about type safety. And here comes the records, the composition. You know, it makes sense to use them. Not for everything, but certainly for some reason, yes. And as I said, the switch case. Conclusion: using the new features that will be fully available in Java 21 kind of improve your code maintainability behind the scene. It reduced the verbosity, and simplified the composition of the code, and it allows you to more fastly implement the requirements according to parameter I made. If you are using some observability tools like a Dynatrace on-prem, Datadog solution in a cloud, it makes the sense to the data you have collected, because you are able to track what is actually happening here, because you have enforced smartly and smoothly the usage of design patterns. And after bottom line, what manager will like is a cost reduction. Less code, product, less money to pay. So thank you very much. Right now, I will open the time for question and answers. And also, I put all these knowledge and way more in my book. And I hope it allows you, after reading it, sleep better at night. Because I get a lot from the community and I wanted to give it back. And I think the way how I can give it the best way, just write something what helps to others. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Okay. So any question? Oh, everything was, I know, you can,
What's your favorite thing in 21?
What?
What's your favorite new feature in 21?
Oh, switch case. Hey, anyhow, I have forgotten. I have a book here I would love to give away. And I have a question here. Do you know what is the default garbage collector in OpenJDK 17? Yes, you got a book, and I will sign it for you and dedicate to this guy. It was on a slide actually, on the boot. So, and my really favorite teacher is is a switch case, because it's so sad that it didn't make it to Java 17. Yeah, but this is a complete game changer from my perspective, the Project Ember. But it has a reason why it has been postponed, because the platform architects and also the language architects need to maintain the backwards compatibility. And it's essentially very hard to do this. And this is why, compared to other languages, Java, aside the fact it stays the first language for the JVM, because it producing less bytecode to be executed, which makes you the speed, right? It becomes to be way more readable. And thank you to Java architect. We can use it right now in Java 21. Thank you. Yeah, and the guy who is a winner, he escaped. Oh, come on, we need a second winner.